I had no reason to object. We arrived at a beautiful farmhouse surrounded by open fields and tall trees, peaceful and far from the noise of the city. He led me straight to the master bedroom, dimmed the lights, and pointed to the large bed. I sat at a respectful distance, but he gently took my hand and pulled me closer. My pulse quickened. I am a beautiful 18-year-old American girl. My name is Eva Reynolds, living in a one-bedroom apartment on the south side of Chicago. Life at that age felt incredibly difficult to handle because I had already seen and experienced women twice my age. Late at night, whenever I heard my parents through the thin walls, I struggled to control my racing heart. A strange anxiety would overwhelm me, drenching me in sweat and turning the rest of the night into an emotional battle. By 20, my mind was overwhelmed with thoughts that no young woman should wake up so early. Our family shared the same room, me, my parents, and my younger sister Mia, who was 10 and still innocent of the world I had already guessed. My cheeks would burn with embarrassment and my body would tremble as I caught the fragments of my parents' late-night conversations. Dad's words took on an edge that made me want to sit up and announce that I was awake. But I never had the courage. I closed my eyes and burned inside with shame. Sometimes the emotions would be so intense that I wanted to stop and plead with him to stop, tell him that I had run out of patience. Still, I remained silent, trapped in my own head. Home life was hard. Watching my mother endure everything left an invisible fire burning in my chest. I dreamed of someone taking my hand and leading me far, away from that small apartment, so that I could finally live the life I wanted. But there was no one like that in my world. One day I made up my mind. I would step out, find a decent job, and maybe even a companion who could help me escape this one-room prison. I couldn't live in constant torment. When I told my father that I wanted to get a job, he laughed. With what education? You have nothing on paper. Even the decent people here are barely scraping by. His words sank my pride. Angrily, I replied, "Just look. I will get a job in 4 days and get out of this place. Safely." He gave me a sharp look and said, "Okay, go pursue your dream, but if you come back empty-handed, don't even think of crossing that threshold again." My heart was pounding. Yet the next morning I put on clean clothes and walked out. Mom kept a tight rein on her. She had slept late after another hard night and had spent the day quietly working away from us. She knew I had grown up and understood a lot. Exhausted by the stress, I had decided to leave, but I had no idea where to start. I stepped out easily and hailed a taxi. "Take me to the industrial district where the factories are hiring." I told the driver, who I had saved. He dropped me off in front of a large brick building with a sign that said, "Bennett Industries." The security guard eyed me closely. "The owner doesn't meet anyone, miss." I turned to leave as a sleek black sedan pulled up. A tall, broad-shouldered man in a tailored suit stepped out. He was about 55, maybe 10 years younger than my father. Something about him reminded me of the voices I had heard at home late at night. I knew that older men could be intense, so I gave my warmest smile, adjusted my blouse to look professional but confident, and stepped closer. "Sir, can you hear me?" He studied me with deep eyes, then gestured to the guard to explain. "She's here for work." The man couldn't ignore my presence. He glanced at me once and waved me back. I raised my head and followed him. The receptionist at the front desk looked surprised. My casual look from the outside had become a little more surprising. I smiled politely at him, feeling my first small victory. Little did I know that I had just embarked on a path that would change everything. Mr. Alexander Bennett, everyone called him Alex, led me into his spacious office, offered me a seat, and asked for my resume. I had none. "I am not highly educated, sir, but I am eager to work hard." He stared at me silently for a while, then moved closer, sitting on the edge of his desk. My breathing quickened. "Who will hire you if you are not educated?" he asked. I gathered my courage and replied, "Sir, my family's situation is difficult. I really need this opportunity." A small smile spread across his face. "Okay, I am willing to give you a job, but you will need dedication, and you will travel with me whenever needed." My eyes widened. "What position?" He gently brushed a strand of hair behind my ear and said softly, "Personal assistant, you are with me at all times." A shiver ran through me. This was the closest man I had ever been to a person outside my family. Still, I needed work. "I accept," I whispered. He smiled. "Start now." He stood up and asked me to help him with his suit jacket. I hesitated for just a second before unbuttoning it and hanging it neatly. "Hang your scarf, too," he said with a gentle smile. "That's part of working with me." The work seemed easy, and the pay he offered was simple, and the pay he offered was generous. He took care of some paperwork, then looked at his watch. "I've had an early day, go home and rest. Come back tomorrow morning." It was only 1 in the afternoon. I fixed my appearance, got on the bus home, and told Dad the good news. For once he looked genuinely proud. I arrived early the next day. Mr. Bennett appeared soon, looking anxious. "We're going out of town today to see the construction site of the new factory. You're coming with me." I felt nervous. I'd never left Chicago before, but it was my job, so I followed. As I reached the door, the receptionist quietly stopped me. "Ava, I'm warning you as a friend. Don't take this position." Anger washed over me. He settled into his role, discouraging me. I gave him a cold look and kept walking. Mr. Bennett was waiting in his luxury sedan. We drove for over an hour until we reached a construction site on the outskirts. He wiped his forehead after a cursory inspection. "It's too hot here. I have a house in the countryside right next door. Let's relax there for a while." I had no reason to object. We arrived at a beautiful farmhouse surrounded by open fields and tall trees, peaceful and far from the noise of the city. He led me straight to the master bedroom, dimmed the lights, and pointed to the large bed. I sat at a respectful distance, but he gently took my hand and pulled me closer. My pulse quickened. Then he said the words I hadn't expected just the other day. "Ava, I want to marry you." He explained that the age difference would make things awkward, so we had to keep it private for now. He added, "I've never felt this way so quickly." A wave of joy ran through my heart. I was tired of struggling alone. I said yes without thinking. He hugged me warmly. Today, he decided. Within an hour, he had arranged for a justice of the peace and 2 silent witnesses. We exchanged simple vows in the same room. I didn't call my parents or worry about their reaction. I thought only of the new beginning ahead. After the short ceremony, the others left. Mr. Bennett, now my husband, closed the door and sat down on the bed next to me. He took my hand, lifted my blanket, and took me into his arms. My desires flared up that I had suppressed for years. We had become very close to each other, and then we spent the night as husband and wife. We stayed awake all night, very happy with each other. I had given my boss a great deal of comfort, my husband. And he had me. We spent the rest of the afternoon celebrating our new bond in the best way 2 people can. Even though he was 50, he carried himself with a strength and care that made me feel completely safe. That day became the beginning of a secret chapter I had long dreamed of. Every morning since then, I would arrive at the office as his personal assistant. He always found a reason to take me on drives or short trips, and whenever we did, we would grow closer as husband and wife. I didn't mind. Our marriage made everything seem legitimate and beautiful. I finally had a well-paying job and a caring partner who treated me with respect. Life felt like a dream. But a month later, everything changed again. I began to feel unusually tired and restless in the mornings. A quick trip to the pharmacy and a home test confirmed what my heart had already suspected. I was pregnant. Standing in the quiet bathroom of our hideaway, I watched the positive results with joy and nervous excitement. I was about to become a mother at 18, carrying the child of the man who had saved me from my old life. Mr. Bennett, Alex, reacted with pure joy when I told him. He held me gently and promised that we would figure out the future together, step by step. For the first time in years, the anxiety inside me was quiet. The small apartment, the sleepless nights, the shame I had once carried, all faded into the background. I had stepped out of that one-room world and into a new chapter filled with love, responsibility, and the tiny heartbeats growing inside me. Although we had kept our marriage private for so long, I knew the day would come when we could share our story openly. Until then, I continued my work at the factory, riding with my husband every day, feeling stronger and more hopeful than ever. The girl who once trembled behind thin walls finally found her way forward. One careful, loving step at a time. Dear friends, how did you like today's story? Be sure to tell me in the comments, share the video, and subscribe to the channel. See you in the next video. Take care of yourself. Goodbye.